Welcome in DNVR Bets Daily. No Ryan Koenigsberg. He is whatever. He went 0-3. He went 0-3 on the tailgate. What did you do, Henry?
I went 3-0 because I actually know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
yeah.
Your prop that hit, easy breezy, that hit right away.
That I think it might have hit in the first half.
You called the Bengals winning outright against the Houston Texans.
Easiest pick of the week.
I think you said on DNVR Fantasy you are the only person to profit off of Brandon Allen. Not even Brandon Allen is profiting off of Brandon Allen.
It is true. I mean, he's still making money, but not
honestly
the money he should make.
A little harsh, but I like it, which is why I'm citing it.
And then I profited on the Chiefs sucking too.
And your lock was?
Yeah, the lock was the Falcons.
Like a veteran, he saw plus 11 from the Falcons. He knew, look, the Chiefs, they're not locked in for this game. And you called it. You called it. Perfect. 3-0 day. Tonight, the team you cover, the Colorado Buffaloes, take on the Texas Longhorns in the Alamo Bowl. So we've got that to talk about. But frankly, also, last night, Monday Night Football, terrible. Shout out to Andy, who was able to pull off the first touchdown prop. That's big time stuff. I wish I was in a place
you
like
didn't have
that.
the Bills blowout.
No.
Ryan was. I was talking to Ryan. Ryan was like frustrated too. You know why didn't you like the Bills?
My numbers like the Patriots. I felt like they were
famous numbers
not getting the respect they deserve. Those numbers called the Jets outright this week.
Wow.
Wow. Steelers, everyone giving up on the Steelers. They called the Steelers.
I didn't.
So there were some good calls from the numbers. In fact, 3 dogs outright they had called on Sunday, which is why I like that. I don't know, Henry, because as soon as I watched the game, I felt the same exact way. I was like, what's going on here? What am I doing?
I mean, like, to me, I think
it was a 3-point game the first time they played, though.
It's true. But also, like...
And I love the under. The under got massacred.
We saw what the Bills did to the Broncos.
Well, so what?
And see, like, that's the thing, though. But, like, you look at the Patriots, and it's like, I think that if those two teams played, the Broncos would win. And I think they actually already did play, and the Broncos lost. But that's not the point. Did they win that one? Yep. That was so long ago.
So long ago. So anyways, that doesn't work out. Luckily, my Nuggets spread and the over parlay does hit, so I don't incur any losings. Then I went all in on ties in the EPL today. Almost had a profitable midday until Manchester United scores a goal at the death to beat Ryan's Wolves and take me out of profitability into the negative region. And now I really like the Miami Hurricanes. They're getting blown out. I knew it too. Mm-hmm. I knew it. That line reeked of cheese. Do
you have any interest right now in Miami plus 14.5 or plus 425 on the money line?
No, I've given up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vegas knew. We didn't. I mean, this is a principle I live by, and what am I doing? But anyways, the theme of this show, obviously the Alamo Bowl. I did have some nice picks in college hoops. Would have had a phenomenal day in college hoops if not for Ryan, who very kindly told everyone to take Arizona yesterday. He didn't say as much, but come on. If Ryan's not telling you to not bet the Buffs, wink, wink, it means take the opponent. Mm-hmm. He was correct about that. He screwed me, though, because I was leaning Minnesota. He was like, oh, you don't want to bet against Tom Izzo. No, I did, but I let him talk me into it. That's what screwed my parlay. So anyways, but I had a nice pick because I didn't take the cheese. And that was Maryland outright against Wisconsin. Outright, Henry.
It's tough to do.
So that's happening. When I'm calling upsets, they're going well, except for stupid Miami playing right now. I hate them. Look, we've got a coach throwing the headset. That's how I feel, coach. That is how I feel. Henry, with all of this, though, step back for a second. 200% profit boost from our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook in the NBA tonight. It's a big opportunity. There's also a 20% profit boost on the NBA. We're having one like that every single day for the rest of 2020. final Tuesday of 2020, by the way. And so there are some hedge opportunities. At most, you can guarantee yourself $30.
Yeah, I'm not into the hedge.
Well, sometimes to get off, to get back on the winning track, you might want to hedge.
Okay, yeah.
I would advise that, but it's kind of too much of a hassle. Put money back in.
You have the Nuggets minus 2.5 right here. Like to me, you just got to take that, put the 200% on it, and then you're set.
And that's how Ryan felt.
It's a lock.
Take the Nuggets plus 234. Back-to-back scare you?
No. It's the best team in the NBA on back-to-backs. Nikola Jokic, as Ryan says, does not exert energy, and so he doesn't get tired on the second day.
And you love a back-to-back when the first leg you were able to rest up people.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
They're resting up.
Also,
and Jokic playing some outstanding basketball. I had a tweet today that the odds for him to win MVP shifted from 2,500 all the way to 1,800 overnight. Kicking myself for not taking it, but wanted to talk it out with Ryan while the decision's been made for me. That would be a good suggestion for the 20% profit boost, which you can use on that. Though actually, no, there's a limit of how much you can actually win. So there's some ways to play with this. You're all in on that.
Yeah. I mean, the only other...
They lost to the Kings in overtime, so there's a bit more motivation to want to beat them this time around.
And they played horribly.
They played horribly.
Like they were terrible.
And they're 1-2, so they're locked in. This isn't like, they're 3-0. They're going to overlook the Kings on the second night of a back-to-back. Okay, you're talking me into it.
Yeah. I mean, the only other thing that I would consider is the Nikola Jokic assists, over 8.5 assists.
Oof.
I do like that too.
What's the juice on that?
Minus 110.
Minus 110, you boost that. Oh, there goes Oklahoma State. Turning it off.
That's going to be like my 20% profit boost, I think. And the 200 is going to be on the Nuggets win.
And, our guy D-Line, who is locked in, was saying Nikola Jokic rebounds over 10.5. You get that at plus 100. You boost it, of course, plus 300. You do the max bet of 50. You're winning 150.
Yeah, not bad. I still like the assist better than the rebounds, but he's the Nuggets guy here, so...
The one that really got me intrigued was parlaying exactly what got me yesterday. The Nuggets spread and the over, and you can boost that, folks. That's going to come out to plus 705. You do the max bet of 50. That'll...
Our boy RK here is chiming in from wherever he is.
$400 payout.
He said, by the way, being in states that don't have DraftKings is some BS.
Yeah. It's the absolute worst.
And then he said, thank God I got in my 200% profit boost. You're right, Ryan. Thank God you did.
I was going to say, I hope that happened already. Thoughts on that over, though? 227. Kind of high, man. Kind of high.
It is. And I mean,
Now they're over City. I mean, they're just scoring points left and right.
Yeah. To me, I'm not going to take that just because I'm happy with the 200% on the Nuggets. Like, I am so confident in the Nuggets winning that I am just going to be taking those lines and not messing with the over-under, because I think there's a chance that the Nuggets just lock in on defense, because this is a pretty big game for them. They're on the verge of going 1-3 if they lose, including 2 losses already to the Sacramento Kings. I really do think they're going to be locked in and winning. For your situation, though, if you're looking for more juice in this game and you need something to parlay with the Nuggets, I think you could do worse. It does scare me, though. I think there's a chance that this could be a game where it winds up being 120-95, and you wind up short despite huge offense from the Nuggets.
That was a massive fear with yesterday's game.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth quarter was. And then I'm cheering on the Rockets to keep scoring points.
And they
Next
did.
thing I know...
Dude, I had 2 units on the over. I was terrified.
Oh, wow. We're within 3 possessions, and I've got the Nuggets minus 6.5 parlayed with the over. I got a little tight when they were within 11, and I was like, oh man, we're a couple big shots away from some big stuff. Now 124-122 the last game, but that went to overtime. If I take the overtime buckets out, that was a 112 to 112 game.
So 224.
Question coming in from Austin Novak. Would you take Murray over 2.5 threes for your profit boost?
Ooh. I mean, for a profit boost, those ones scare me away just because it's such a small sample size. Like there's so much room for variability where he could have a good game and just make 2 threes, or it could be a 4th. Like, it isn't totally indicative of whether he's playing well. Like it's obviously a decent gauge. He's a good shooter, and that's a big part of his game.
Yeah.
But something like Jokic over 8.5 assists just feels a little bit safer to me because there's just a little bit more volume there involved.
Those makes are tricky.
Flukiness.
Those makes are tricky because, Jamal and all great perimeter scorers in the NBA can still get 20 with just, 1 or 2 makes from the perimeter. Now, last time he played the Kings, 0 for 5. Then he's made 4 of 11 against the Clippers, 4 of 6 against the Rockets. I mean,
it's probably a good bet.
You
wonder about shooters on the road, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, his legs just don't seem to be there. But like Ryan was saying, he's not a guy who really needs his legs. He's like better off when he's hobbled and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I if I were making the bet, I would take the over. I like other things better though. Not a bad bet.
Not a bad bet at all. If you weren't to go Nuggets, anything that jumps out at you on the NBA slate, period, because we've got a 20% profit boost to use as well. So, for example, you're using your 200 boost on assists, no, money line.
Yeah.
And then 20% boost on assist. Jokic assists over 8.5. That's what you're doing. That's your strategy.
That's my plan.
I will be money line, and then I'm parlaying the over and the spread for that extra je ne sais quoi. So that is our plan. But there are plenty of other games in the NBA that you could use these boosts on. And, like the Heat, +6, +195 against the Milwaukee Bucks. There's some nice little value there.
Yeah, I would definitely take the Heat in that if those are the two options. I mean, honestly, like it's all these early season games where you're still trying to get a read on teams.
I also think people are overlooking the Timberwolves with this cat injury going against the Clippers. I think the Clippers maybe take them a little lightly. That +10.5 on the Minnesota side seems nice. Also, that +430 is a juicy money line as well.
Yeah. Sixers only favored by 1.5 at home against the winless Raptors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably a pretty good bet.
There you go. Yeah, nice. Okay, before we get to the Alamo Bowl, I want to spit out a couple basketball picks because I was feeling it, sniffing out some cheese last night. The cheese I'm sniffing out today is Iowa minus, is this still at 11.5? Let's double
That's
check.
what I see.
11.5. I like Northwestern. Give me Northwestern +11. Really like that. Smell some big cheese on the Iowa side, though I hate that they've had some bumps here, so they might be motivated a little more against Northwestern.
And before the season, Iowa was supposed to be one of the few teams that you see you expect at the end of the season to be competing for the championship.
It's true. Oh, people were hyped about it.
Yeah.
They were one of those
preseason national player of the year, all that.
They were one of those top 5 teams you couldn't really mess with.
Yeah. But, since then, the loss to Gonzaga, that isn't worth anything. Gonzaga is just on a whole nother level.
Yes.
Anything that happens against them, honestly.
Well, that was a great game.
Yeah. But then the loss to Minnesota in overtime, that's an interesting one. Because the thing is, they were down really big. I actually grabbed Iowa, ranked 4th at the time, going up against an unranked Minnesota team. I took Iowa during the game, I think at +300. and it wound up going to overtime and obviously missed. But it's
good value on some of those live lines.
Yeah, there really is good value on some of the live lines. If you say you like Northwestern, I'll trust you. That's where I'm at.
Oh,
God, this one it scares
just smelling
me.
cheese.
Yeah,
just smelling cheese. I mean, are they begging me to take Northwestern here? Am I being begged to take Northwestern? Have I gone too far, Henry?
If somebody were to beg you to take Northwestern, this is how they'd do it. I'll say that.
It's not wrong. Okay, this one I'm definitely certain is cheesy. Clemson at home, 1-point favorite over 18th ranked Florida State. Everyone and their mother will be betting Florida State. Just take Clemson. Thank me later. Easy breezy. Okay, Alamo Bowl, Henry.
Quick note from Justin Michael. He says Iowa covers, boys.
You're getting cheesed, Dre.
Justin, which side is the cheese? That's what I need to know. Henry, Texas taking on Colorado in San Antonio. The over set at 65.5. Buffs 8.5-point dogs, plus 245 on the money line. You've called this the Sam Bowl.
Sure have.
And you were giving me some insights coming into today's show on how this is a very different Texas team.
I mean, essentially, like, if you think of the Texas football team, like put the Texas football team in your brain, and now just subtract all of the good football players except for the quarterback, and that's kind of what you're left with, and that's where Texas is right now. You know, it's been kind of a weird year for Texas in a lot of ways. I mean, they've been to 3 overtime games. They're averaging, they got to be over 40 points per game, 41.3 points per game. Like, it is a tough time to try to gauge this Texas team. And it's been getting tougher because of everything that's happened with the opt-outs. You know, Caden Stern's supposed to be the star safety, potential first-round draft pick. He disappoints this season, gets outplayed by Chris Brown, the other safety, who now is looking like a pretty exciting prospect. But Caden Stearns opted out a couple weeks ago, and then Chris Brown just opted out. So now both the safeties are gone. They just moved one of the backup safeties to offense because he's so fast and they want to use him as a weapon, which means they don't even have one of the 2 replacements. And so then they switch to cornerback over, and I would guess still right now, 3 hours before kickoff, they're still trying to teach this poor kid how to play safety before the Alamo Bowl. So, like, that's going on there. Joseph Osai, one of the best pass rushers in the country. First team All-American, he's out. He decided he isn't going to play, and he was supposed to go up against Will Sherman, who's one of the best offensive linemen in the Pac-12. And now that matchup's gone. There's a defensive lineman that's gone as well, like all-conference defensive lineman. They're down an all-conference center. Samuel Cosme,
their star left tackle, also out. You know, a guy like Carson Wells, who's led the country in tackles for a loss per game.
Yes, he is first. You know, and that's his matchup. And so you see all of this, and you see a lot of reasons why you'd expect Colorado to win. I mean, the wide receiver, Brennan Eagles, the one consistent option they've had on that offense, because they have spread the ball around more than just about anybody in the country. Even he couldn't get to 500 yards, but he's out too. Like, it is just a team full of question marks. But the one thing you know is that Sam Ehlinger's there, and these are the moments where he's, you know, I mean, there is kind of a big game narrative that maybe he doesn't always live up to it, but for the most part, he does have that energy that you would expect to be able to carry a team like Texas to a bowl game victory, even without all these players. So,
and then we get into motivations, which of course is a theme with all these bowls, and Sam Ehlinger and that Texas run game, and how does it match up against the Buffs without Nate Landman, which was something that Ryan brought up when I kind of forced him to make a pick on the show yesterday.
And you know, Pro Football Focus had that offensive line as the 23rd best run blocking offensive line in the country. They just lost the 2 best pieces. What does that even do? Like this is a game where I think anybody who says they know what's going to happen, they're probably wrong. And for that reason, like you see 8.5 points with Colorado, a team that runs the ball. Like you'd think they should be able to get something going, run some clock. I do think that plus 8.5 is probably the side you want to be on. But
you got to trust that backfield, especially with a team that's more intact.
And you've got to trust the Buffs to be able to push the ball downfield against a weakened secondary, which is something that at points Sam Neuer has been very good at, and at points he's missed some of those throws.
One weakness, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Also worth mentioning, 27.5 is the total for Colorado. I really like that.
Yeah.
In football, college football especially, in college basketball, I'm often talking about veteran point guards. In college football, I like to rely on a backfield I can trust. And that's not just a running back. That's a quarterback-running back combo.
Yep.
I mean, there's few better than Sam Neuer and Jarek Broussard.
That's true.
And against a banged-up Texas team that I don't think has a lot of motivation. Also, how good is this Texas team?
Exactly.
They're ranked 20th. They're 6-3. But as you mentioned, there's 3 overtime games. Guess what? They won all 3 of those, right?
The 2-1.
2-1. So they could easily be, you flip every single one of those. They're 4-5.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma in 4 overtimes.
That was a lot.
Yeah. It is really hard to get a read on this one. What I will say is that Colorado really wants it. And that has been very obvious from the start that this is a game that is very important to them, and they understand what it means for recruiting in the state of Texas. Only the second time they've played in Texas since 2009. Trying to show that you are a contender. Yeah, it would be the Alamo Bowl. Those would be the 2 Alamo Bowls. Crazy. Only times I've been down there when 22 players on the roster from that. Like, it's just
wow.
It is a very big moment, and I think that there are a lot of people on this team trying to kind of prove things to outsiders. Sam Neuer going up against Sam Ehlinger. There's that storyline. There's Carl Durrell showing that this can win. The Pac-12 needs this, and we've already seen. I mean, we're watching the Big 12 right now show that they're winning a big game, and in a season where all of these conferences are totally insulated from each other, you don't know how the power rankings work with the conferences. Is the Big 12 just that much better than the Pac-12 this year? We have no idea. I don't think Probably so either, not. But we're watching what's happening in Miami. Oklahoma State's better, though. I don't know.
Interesting question coming in here from Austin. With the Buffs money line, would you parlay the over or under with the Buffs money line?
Either way, I think it's the over. Whether Texas wins, whether Colorado wins, I do think I'd take the over. I mean, just because you look at the Buffs, they're missing Nate Landman, one of the best linebackers in the entire country.
Young second there.
Yeah, and Texas is losing more. At the same time, like in pass efficiency defense, Colorado's ranked 6th in the country, which isn't what you'd expect when you look at it. It's just tough.
Honestly, I would say hammer the over. The only thing that gives me pause were those 2 kind of mid-November games that Texas had against West Virginia and Iowa State that were a little lower scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, it's been like, 65, they'll clear that in the first half if Texas plays the way they've played in every other game this season.
Yeah, and you can look at the numbers for Texas. I said they're scoring 41 points per game. Well, they're only giving up 29 points per game. And that might make you think, oh, well, the defense is pretty good. You might expect them to not give up that many points. Mm-hmm. Well, it helps when you only give up 3 points to UTEP in a 59-3 win. You don't get any credit for doing that to UTEP. A bad Baylor team put up 16. When you look at the low-scoring games that are really changing that average, they don't carry much weight in my mind. So I would take the over.
Man, you've really talked me into this. I mean, almost
65.5. When one team's missing a secondary and one team's missing their best player, which is the centerpiece of the defense.
Yeah, for sure. And the best edge rusher, best defense, best front guys.
Yep.
Snap. I think it has to be done. It just it sounds so good. I'm a little skeptical. I'm always cautiously skeptical. Has Justin got back to us on what side the cheese was on there? I assume he's saying the cheese is on.
He did not. He did not.
As we think that through and we think of any other games to pick on here, though we've gone through the full slate, I remind you we are presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. holiday season coming to an end. But right now in the sports calendar, this is like the week of weeks. We have week 17 in the NFL, always wacky. We've got all the New Year's Six Bowls and college football finals and all that. Basketball, full swing, both in college and the NBA. It's just a great time. And DraftKings is taking care of you with all these great offers. I mean, just on this show alone, we're talking about, boost the 200% boost, the 20% boost. You've got other offers in there. If you're a new user, you can bet on who's going to be the national championship, and it's like bet $1 to win 100. I mean, it's
right now Clemson's boosted to plus 250 to win the national championship.
That's for Henry and I.
Yeah,
I mean, that's for
I like
all
that
of
one.
us.
I like that one.
They're intriguing. Best quarterback has to be
by far. I mean,
that gap widened significantly in like the last 10 days.
Yep, and I think that not playing as many games this season, and especially like playing the games that you did play against some pretty bad ACC teams, people have forgotten just how good Trevor Lawrence is. And Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, they aren't close to him. Like statistically, and with all the pieces they have, like there's all that. But Trevor Lawrence is a generational quarterback, and I have a tough time believing he's going to finish his college career with anything other than a national championship.
And you can get that man on the DraftKings Sportsbook app to win the Natty at plus 250. That's any user. If you're a new user, you bet $1 to win 100. That's nice odds in your favor. You download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up. You get 100-1 odds on the semifinalists, which we just talked about. Use code DNVR for new players to get a shot at $100 on any semifinal this week for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. What else you got, Hank?
What do you think of the Florida-Oklahoma game? Oklahoma's favored by 3.5.
I love the Gators.
Me too.
I mean,
me too.
Love the Gators.
And I was going to say I love the Gators when I was just waiting for you to ask me what I like. That is what I like.
It's scary,
Gators
though.
plus 3.5.
And
maybe I'm missing an opt-out or something.
It's scary.
I'm actually going to pull up the opt-outs since we're talking college football.
The only fear here is that Oklahoma comes in playing with house money. Florida instead feels the real letdown. They're really kicking themselves for those losses to Georgia and a pretty close loss to Alabama. I mean, I think that the scoreboard's a little deceiving, but still they kept it close. So I wonder, are the Gators going to come in a little bummed out and not playing their best?
Well, here's what the Gators are going to do. They're going to come in without Kyle Pitts, Trayvon Grimes, and Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, I knew that there would be no Pitts. Toney I wasn't considering. But still, I mean, as long as Trask's there, do I even care? Also, against Oklahoma, they should be able to light them up, and the over 68 feels really nice too.
I don't love this as much as I did at first. Because you're missing your two top receivers. Plus, your tight end too, who's your number one receiver.
The two guys who gave Alabama fits, and Saban said, "Yeah, we just couldn't cover them," are out. So
I just talked myself out of this.
Well, there you go. That is the big bowl game tomorrow, though. So I'm glad you brought that up. We'll have a little soccer. I'm probably going to be sprinkling these ties again. These soccer teams are playing so much right now. They're just exhausted. They're not playing at the same tempo. I love the ties. You can always get really nice odds on those too. So I'm just sprinkling and zeroing in on some profitability.
Before we wrap up, can we take some quick questions that popped in about stuff you guys had sort of already passed in the show?
We are ready for questions right this moment.
Jokic over 11 assists. How do we feel about it?
So DraftKings has it at 8.5. So wherever you're seeing that line, leave that place and go to DraftKings.
Right, because you can go to DraftKings and then you put the profit boost on there, and it's way better value than whatever you're going to get over 11 out.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the way to go.
Man, you better be getting that at like plus 800.
I don't know about 800.
Well, 11 assists.
Yeah.
On just a random game on a back-to-back.
He's putting up 14 a game so far, though?
No.
It's not 800.
but he also just broke the record for a center. I don't know that we can expect him to have.
Or
Here's
maybe
my
that's
one
just who he
concern is it could be. I mean, I really do think like the triple-double's nice. In fact, we can't even get it. That's how nice it is. Ryan and I were talking about it on yesterday's show. This show alone swings lines, swings props. I mean, we're Nugget City over here. I am really concerned with that bet, with the 8.5, with the 10.5 rebounds, everything you guys are piling on with Jokic. What if they blow him out? What if they're up by 30 in the third and they pull him?
To me, if that happens,
that scares.
I'm not going to be upset.
Well, sure.
Like I know that you have to like account for the possibility and all that, but I'm not going to like change my decisions based on whether he gets pulled, especially on a road game.
There you go. He's not scared, and it's a back-to-back. So I mean, I get it, but
yeah,
still.
8.5, I do like. 11, I agree with Dre. You better be getting some good juice.
Mad value. Do we have more questions?
Just the one. Juan Pablo, I think he was responding to you, saying FSU over Clemson.
Nope, Clemson over FSU. FSU, way too cheesy. And we've established it's actually Northwestern plus 11. That's the cheese. Take Iowa minus 11. That's the non-cheesy side. So there you go. That's your college hoops picks, your Nuggets picks. Alamo Bowl, I guess we're just emptying the clip on the Buffs.
I mean, plus 245.
I'm not sprinkling. I'm putting a full unit on the money line.
Yep.
I'm taking the over 27.5. I'm taking the over. I'm taking the spread.
Yep.
I'm sprinkling an over spread parlay because that's how I like to enjoy myself on a Tuesday night. And then Nuggets, in fact, we need to go. We need to get all these bets in before it's too late. Lots happening.
We do.
Looks like maybe Miami closing things in. Let's hope. No, it's 3rd and 12. It won't work out. It doesn't even matter. The Buffs, go Nuggets.
I thought that was a Troy from. I thought your
Nikola
Jokic.
Whoa. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow.